store at 406 Route 20.
That's the why. We're so much more.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas for Habitat for Humanity Restore. Habitat Restores are nonprofit home improvement stores and donation centers that sell new and gently used furniture, building materials, and appliances to the public at a fraction of the retail cost. The Ulster County Restore at 406 Route 28 in Kingston needs your donations. Call our hotline at 845-853-7499 to schedule your free pickup. And thanks.
We all play a role in keeping our community safe.
Every day, we move in and out of each other's busy lives.
It's easy to take for granted all the little moments that make up our everyday.
Some are good, others not so much.
But that's life.
It's when something doesn't seem quite right
that it's time to pay attention.
Because only you know what's not supposed to be in your everyday.
So protect your everyday.
If you see something suspicious, say something to local authorities.
Hi, this is Jared Mans from the Spring Lake Fire Department, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
Okay, good morning, Don Williams.
Good morning, Lawrence. Good to see you so early.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for Tony calling me at 6:20, I would have been still sleeping right now. I went to bed last night probably a little too early. I fell asleep on the couch at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. So I woke up at like, I don't know, 3 in the morning. Yep. So I was like, God, I'm awfully wide awake. I was like, maybe I could get up and do something. So I tossed and turned for a little bit. Then it was 4:30. And then I guess I must have dozed back off, and I hear the phone ringing at 6:20. Tony was my alarm this morning. So
Tony Marmo has great energy, and when he called me quite early this morning, let me know he couldn't come in. He sounded like he had been awake for about 3 hours.
Right? His voice was elevated.
I'm still trying to get the sleep out of my eyes. But then I arrived here early.
You did, and remember when I passed you, you didn't see me because it was still dark out. I was like, I
couldn't get in.
I can't come to work without a newspaper.
I said, I'm locked out. Yeah. What is Lawrence doing to me?
So. Oh, I knew it was you. I was like, that's a Volvo sitting in the lot. That's definitely him. I was like, the teacher people aren't here yet. So,
hey, you were kind enough to bring me a Daily Freeman. Thank you so much. It took me a little longer to read it this morning. It was
There's not really much in there. What is
it? A minute and 45 seconds from cover to cover. It's amazing.
Is Cuomo's ninth accuser in there or whatever?
I didn't read about the ninth.
I think it's still 7, actually.
Okay.
But yesterday and today was the first time in 12 days that he wasn't on the cover for doing something wrong.
Well,
yesterday they had it was the crisis at the border. I read the Post every day, so I'm talking.
I read the back section of the Post, Lawrence. The sports. It has a great sports section. I try not to go through into the front.
Yeah.
What was on the front?
Well, I mean, they're more conservative than I had to. All right, here, let me tell you a story. So I was in Florida over the weekend, left on Friday, came back Monday, had some stuff to do down there, business, and actually a little bit of both, business and pleasure. So I got to the airport a little late, 15, 20 minutes later than normal. They were sold out of the New York Post. I'm like, damn.
So this is in Florida.
Buy Daily News. I wanted to read some New York things, and I got through one article, and I was like, oh, wow. These people are super far to the left. I mean, it's not like the New York Times, but
the Daily News.
Oh, they're pro-Biden. The Post they tell both sides of the story. And they're also $1 cheaper.
I'm not sure the people at the Daily News would agree with you, but that's...
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And the people that read the New York Times would never read the New York Post.
You know something, honestly, though, Lawrence, I try to read both. When I
Right.
watch what they call broadcast news, I watch both CNN and Fox.
I started
and then
doing that
somewhere,
when you told me about it.
Somewhere in the middle
You'll find your news.
is the truth.
Yeah.
It's sad what that industry has
you turn
turned
one
into.
station on and like, wow, because the people that watch CNN do not watch Fox Business News or do not watch Fox News Channel.
And now, see, well, I do both only
No, I know,
because
but it's
somewhere.
hard. It's you're like, oh my God, it's.
I was watching BBC for a while, but I have difficulty understanding what in God's name they're saying.
Is that
So-
the British network? No. Which
Yeah,
one?
yeah, it is.
Is that the one with Piers Morgan?
It is excellent.
Yeah, no, I like Piers Morgan. He's all right. Anyway, so who are our guests today?
We have
Tony's.
that.
By the way, folks, Tony's out on assignment. He's wheeling in some big dollars for KCR. So
I know how
he's got the day off.
I'm sure many people were disappointed they didn't hear Tony go Thunder Thursday.
He's got Val doing. He's got Val doing it now. She's doing what Scott used to do. It's actually pretty funny.
Oh, that's good.
I'm like, and I don't. Guy Greco's the other host when you're not. It's the three of you guys. You, Guy Greco, and Val Dwyer. And I don't think Guy does it either. He's just like, yeah, boom. Val gets into it. She's
That's
got
great.
It.
No,
Yeah.
I'm still learning the ropes of doing Thunder Thursday. So, yeah, Tony's not in. Oh, now you had to put that TV screen.
You got to remind me, man.
But you think I want to? Do you think I want to look and see what I look like at this
Well,
hour?
the rest of America does, or
Puffy,
or Kingston. Yesterday we had 65 people watching.
Really?
Yeah, not all at the same time, but during, it'll tell you how many views were on after every show. I can look at it.
Oh, fantastic.
And then they
Good.
send you YouTube sends you a thing at the end of the month. I was like, wow. And
Oh, that's from YouTube.
Yeah, we've gotten 64 new subscribers since the start of this year.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that
Good.
is.
Probably 64 people that hate me, Lawrence, but that's quitter. And what did you say your listening audience is here? It's about 4,000, I think.
We figured out, excuse me, I had to take a bite of a sandwich because I'm starving. And it's not the sandwich I'm used to eating, Don. I usually get, Raj makes me a pastrami, egg, and cheese.
Is Raj still there? You got to give Raj
He's
a
still
plug.
there. 2 more years, he says he's done.
You got to give him a plug.
Yeah,
Raj
he's
from
great.
the
No,
corner.
I bring him to Giant games with me.
Yeah,
He's
the corner
awesome.
of
He
Washington.
supplies the beer and the ice. It's perfect.
He's the corner of Washington Avenue and Lucas, folks. I think he must. What time's he open up in the morning?
You can probably. He's there at like 4:30. I think he opens the doors at 5. And he's
Now,
having a hard
is he-
time finding help.
Raj, was it his brother that was co-owner?
No, Babu. Remember
Babu.
Yeah, I think they're just friends. Babu's still working. He's working at the one up on. Raj bought the one up on Lucas.
They're two
And
of the
Babu
nicest
and his
people.
wife are there, and they run the liquor store too.
I was.
Babu's still going. He's not even. Babu's not even 80 yet.
Babu looks like he's in his 60s.
I remember when Babu sold me my first pack of cigarettes at 14. When the statute of limitations are gone on that. They were 99 cents.
There was somebody that looked a lot like Babu.
He
it wasn't
looked just
Babu.
like he does now. The same dude with a little gray patch of hair.
They're two of the
Babu.
nicest, hardest
You haven't
working
aged-
guys.
He hasn't aged a bit.
I think I was chief assistant DA at the time, Lawrence, and they were robbed at I believe gunpoint. And,
yeah.
And I handled the case personally, put it in the grand jury. Every time I see them since.
Oh, they
then,
caught him. They caught the guy. Oh, okay.
They caught him, and he spent a few years away.
Oh,
Pretty
really?
serious stuff. People don't understand that type of violent crime
Yeah.
has such an impact on the victims and the community. But yeah,
Were they open at the time, or
Yeah.
Oh, so that's an armed robbery then.
Oh, armed.
Yeah.
Handgun.
No, if you I mean,
And what other people don't understand, if you commit an offense like that, you are inevitably caught, and the period of incarceration runs up to 25 years in state prison, and that's a long haul.
it is.
So, and the individual that did it, I will not mention his name,
Yeah, we better not do that.
served I could, but served a very long time. And
Did he come out and rob again? Did you see him in front? Oh, well, that's good.
well, if he did, it's not in Ulster County anyway. But Babu and Raj, two of the nicest guys. They work so hard. And now they bought, I believe, I don't know if they did it together. They bought the liquor store and convenient.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, that used to be Ken Gilligan's
Ken
building,
Gilligan,
right?
the Ken Gilligan, the lawyer's
And the pet
place.
store was there before the liquor store.
Yeah, pet store was owned by I can't remember.
He's in
They went
Kevin
over
Quilty's old spot.
They went over to the corner right, Kevin,
Yeah.
which is
That's actually perfect for him.
and they're good people too. I went to high school with the co-owner.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I
Yeah,
tell you,
he's good.
when I had a dog 22 years ago or 21 years ago, the pet food they have now, oh my God! Back then you went and bought the Iams or whatever it was. It was $30. You could feed your dog for a month on it. You add a little Alpo or whatever. Now they got this. They got dog food that costs like $300. I was like, what?
And my dog eats far better than I do, except on those Tuesday or Thursday nights when I hit the Canard, Lawrence.
Oh yeah, and then you give him your.
No, he doesn't get that food.
But he doesn't get, like, say if you order a steak or.
That's a strange thing about it. I had one passed away. That was hard. The 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. And the one really couldn't digest anything. My wife and I were skinning breasts of chicken, boiling rice, dog still.
Still wouldn't eat.
And then I was out at that location, that pet store, and the fella said, try this stuff. It was called Blue Buffalo or Buffalo
Yeah,
Blue.
it's the one with the wolf on it?
Some of them, I didn't get, that's Wilderness. I don't want
that's Wilderness. Yeah,
but that's the same company.
That's expensive.
But it's expensive. But since I've been feeding my dogs, one passed away, feeding my dog this food, no issues.
Nothing.
Now, if I want to give the dog a treat, and humans think we're giving them treats, and I give them some scraps from the table, he gets sick. So just keep him on the Blue Buffalo.
So maybe
or Buffalo Blue.
maybe then it's worth it to give him the.
It does. He took off recently. Great plug, if I can do this on the radio.
ahead.
I'm still learning. The lost pets of the Hudson Valley. I was out snow blowing one morning. The gate, my backyard is fenced in, so I can let my dog Samson out. I forgot that I couldn't shut the gate the full way, so Samson decided that he wanted to take a little adventure. I got to tell you, Lawrence, dogs mean so much to people that have the good fortune to own them. But he took off, and he was gone. I couldn't find him anywhere. I was frantic. He's this little tiny guy, probably running down Miller's Lane. So I called the Kingston Police Department, and I apologized profusely, telling them I lost my dog. You guys have much more important things. And they were good enough to say they'll keep their eye out for him, probably because of what I used to do. But I said, is there anybody that, and they said, get online with Lost Pets of the Hudson Valley. Now, I'm 67. 68 March 27th, by the way, but
nice.
I'll expect you to buy me a bourbon Manhattan.
Oh, that's a week from Saturday.
It's coming up soon. I know that. Too soon. So anyway, I went online.
After 40 years old, they all come up soon.
Yeah, these are coming a little
seems
sooner.
Like it was
than-
Christmas. I can't even believe we're almost in April already. That's how fast this year has gone by.
And it was kind of nice waking up this morning, going outside, hearing the birds. So I went online. I'm trying to figure out how to upload a photo of Sam, scrolling through, and there his picture was. Nice lady, just about 12 blocks away from me. Saw him running down with her daughter, picked him up, went online to this site.
That's cool, man.
Lost Pets of the Hudson Valley. And
He didn't have a collar, or he or she didn't have a collar with your phone number on there?
He does. I take it off because it bothers him. So he's wearing one now. I'll tell you that much.
You got to have one of them on
Yeah.
there. Some people go as far as to put a chip in their dog. Okay, I'm not going to hurt little Scraps or little Trixie that way. You got to, get him a collar. I like the one that doesn't let him leave the yard. Gives him a little shock.
The electronic shock.
The electronic shock, yeah. I lived with Dino Demosthenes for a summer while I was moving into a new house or doing something. And he had a Great Dane called Luke. This thing was like a freaking pony. It was 190 pounds.
Big
I mean, this
dogs.
dog used to knock the furniture over.
Big dogs.
But he had the collar on him because he used to try to surf, before he got fixed, he could smell for miles, and he would smell a dog in heat or whatever, and he would just try to jump right over the fence. So Dino put the shock collar on him. Dog never left anymore. So
Is that
if it
right?
looks for 190 pounds.
Did you have to put one on Dino? I know Dino fairly well.
He's actually going out to dinner with us this Saturday.
He's good. Tell him I said hi. Good guy.
Were you there? Were you there a couple weeks ago? Did you ever try John Jock's rabbit stew? Oh my God, it is.
Jean-Jacques is the owner, co-owner.
Elvis makes it, but it
co-owner.
is delicious.
I should say, we got to say co-owner, Lawrence.
Why co-owner?
His wife is a co-owner also.
Oh yeah, they're yes,
co-owners. But he is, what a good chef. His stuff is good. Never rabbit. I'll eat
It tastes
anything.
like chicken.
I was there Tuesday, I believe. I think Tuesday. I had sweetbreads.
Oh yeah, they make those good too.
He is good.
I went there Monday when I got back. I was fiending for some oysters. I love
the oysters.
I love the food there.
Food is great.
The problem is when you go there, it's going to cost you $200 if you're eating. So.
Well, for three of you, well, one is but if you look at what you're getting.
Oh yeah, I'm quite happy with it.
It's exceptional.
I probably tipped too much, but he bought me an appetizer and a couple drinks the other night, and
he's generous like that.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Sometimes he's too generous, but he's
when my father passed away, me and my mother were going there every Saturday. It was just me and her before I started getting someone to pick her up, so she doesn't have to drive. She doesn't like to drive at night, and she wants to enjoy herself at dinner, have a drink, and not have to worry about getting pulled over, which I don't blame her. And we were the first. I gotta say, he passed away in August of 2016. I mean, it was going on until Christmas, and he was every single week he was buying us dinner. And finally, we were like, "All right, enough is enough." I mean, thank you for being so generous. I mean, he really liked my dad, and they had been going there for years, and we appreciated it. But all right, you got to make money too, But he says his business is starting to pick up.
Yeah, what really helped him, even though obviously they were hit like every restaurateur with COVID. Being able to do tables outside really, really helped him.
You know how French people don't believe in takeout. He's not like
when
Jimmy DeMasi and Santa Fe had to do. He says he's still doing more takeout. I look out my window sometimes, and there's cars back down to Clinton Avenue.
Yeah, his food. Honestly,
people are never going to eat in a restaurant.
You really do have to go to New York City in order to get something that's the equivalent of what he serves. The only problem, I have a lot of issues with Jean-Jacques, but the only real issue I have with Kennard and Jean-Jacques.
He's Republican.
Well, no, that's not one of the issues. The issue is I don't understand half of what he says. I truly understand less than half of what he says. And that scares me. He says
10 words to you, and you can pick up 4 of them. You can figure out the rest. You're smart enough. That's what I do.
I look at the expression on his face.
When he's excited and he's telling a joke, that's when it's the hardest for me to understand.
Well, you're lucky you get to hear him tell jokes. He normally just complains to me, but that's all right.
Right after COVID was over and we were allowed to, I think it was 30% or 20% dining. The first night the Mohawk Mountain House, up in the...
Yeah.
The first night they opened up, he took me, Dino, and somebody else, one of his other friends. He just got the Maserati. He's flying, dude. Going through high falls, this and that. You're talking while you're driving. I'm sitting in the back seat. Dino's in the front. I'm looking at the person on it. I just met. I was like, he's going on talking this and that. He doesn't drink or anything, but we go up to Mohawk Mountain House, and I'm telling you, he knew everybody.
He doesn't drink when you're there, Lawrence.
I see.
Occasionally he takes one. Yeah. He has some stomach issues.
Right.
So.
Right.
But
how old is Jean-Jacques? 58?
I don't know.
He's not 60.
I don't. I know he went through a similar procedure that I did for prostate cancer. He's bounced back well.
Yeah.
He's done well, but he is quite a character. Maybe I'm fortunate that I only understand half of what he says because he's a scary guy.
I try. I go there a couple days a week, so. I don't know. People have been working there. Some people have been working there, like Francois's been with him for 24 or 23 years.
Jean-Francois.
Yeah, Jean-Francois.
Great guy.
And Kathy's been there for 17 years.
You're right.
I'm waiting for the day he's like, hey, you want to go to France? He took Kathy. He took the Bells a couple times.
I know that.
I can't. That's why I keep patiently going there, spending lots of money. I was like, one day I'll take it.
I don't know if Fred and Norma Bell listen. Do they listen to your show?
If they do, used to.
If they do, we haven't seen you at Kennard. We want you back.
I think when
you're missed.
COVID came, is it Norma or Norma?
Norma.
I think.
Or the way Jean,
because I saw Fred a couple times having coffee with Jean-Jacques, like sitting on the outside thing.
Right. I think Norma is probably a little concerned to come out with everything that's happening.
Right?
You what?
The Bells are in their
They're
80s.
they're
right?
a good age. Yeah.
They're really cool people though.
Yeah, they are. Fred is not shy of telling you what he thinks about
definitely
something.
not. That's definitely not.
So our guest today, you asked earlier.
I did.
At what is it? 7:30. We start with the first guest. It's John Naccarato from.
Now, are they calling in or coming in?
No, that's Tony didn't tell me. Either Tony didn't tell me or when he talked to me at 5:15 this morning, I was still asleep. John Naccarato, I'm not sure if John's coming in or talking in it.
He called you at 5:15?
It was something like that, My eyes were blurry at the time.
I was sleeping.
I was in shaving, so it had to be about 5:15, 5:30.
No, he only called me once at 6:25.
Yeah. And Tony did say he would call in at 8 o'clock. I said it's not necessary that Walter and I talk enough.
Walter.
Oh, I did that to you again, Lawrence.
It's okay. And there's someone else that keeps calling me Walter too. Oh, Hugh Reynolds. Hugh and Mario.
Oh, please do not.
They're actually. Have you listened to their show? They're really good.
I listened to them one day, and they are both very good. Hugh Reynolds is a bright guy.
He is. I mean, he's a journalist. He's not too far to the left. He's more of a conservative Democrat.
I'm not sure where Hugh stands. I
He's
know
a Democrat.
there had to be
He'll
about
tell
a
you.
year and a half that my deceased wife wouldn't talk to Hugh. That's an interesting story. I was going to come on as a guest with Hugh and Mario, and then
They're on tomorrow.
Well, to tell them again, they invited me once and I could not make it. But I'd love to come and talk to these two guys. They're entertaining people, and Mario's quite a character.
Tell you, they're pretty sharp for 80-year-old guys, man.
Is Mario that young? He looks a lot older.
I think
I did that to bust Mario, but
I don't know if Hugh was 80 yet.
I don't.
No,
think
wait,
he's
he was
in.
my dad's age. My dad would have been 81 this year. My dad was born in 1940, so they're around the same age.
Your dad was the best. Your dad, I remember, young assistant DA, and Mike Kavanaugh couldn't make. I think he used to come on either weekly or monthly, and I was sent over. Your dad took no prisoners. He was, but
he would ask the tough questions.
He asked,
you
but
can't do that with some people.
But they were fair questions, and
right, they
and
weren't.
We really hit it off. It was great.
Yeah, no, he was. He always believed in bringing the right program to the audience. And,
I can't remember the.
he wasn't. He wouldn't cross the line, but
he asked.
The right to
he asked tough questions, and then he gave you the opportunity to explain. He was great. He was tremendous, and he used to. I can't believe that I can't remember his name. I think I was on weekly or monthly.
When you were a DA, though, not because
initially I came on as chief assistant. Then when I was DA, I was on regularly. Who was the mayor of Woodstock? Jeremy.
Oh, Jeremy Wilbur.
He was one of the.
He passed away too.
Passed away early.
Actually, we lost three really important people. Now, I'm not just saying this because it was my father, but Jeremy Wilbur, my father, and John Coutan and Abel Garrigan all died within
people. Good people.
Less than a year of each other.
All good.
All four of them did plenty for Ulster County.
Yeah, they really did. John
Coutan was a cool guy. He was the supervisor of
town of Esopus. Yeah, I remember when I was first running for district attorney, going in front of John, and he also played it right down the middle, but he became very supportive. All of those guys, and I feel very bad about Jeremy. Jeremy got quite an eye-opener because Jeremy was obviously left of center, mayor of Woodstock, very bright, very engaging guy. And I, at the time, was the hard-charging district attorney. And Jeremy would ask questions again, and I would give answers, and it was amazing. He would sit and listen. Initially, you could see that there was a look of disbelief, but then after a period of time, Jeremy realized that I was just going to give it to him straight. Great guy.
Now, when you were a judge, you didn't come on. Is that because
I did not.
I tried to get Carrie Savona on. Brian Rounds was the. Did you get Brian Rounds on? He came on with somebody. Who was it?
Yeah, Brian came on with
you.
Mario.
Oh, with Mario and Hugh. That's right. And I said to me and my mother were like, I think that's the first time a sitting judge, because Rich Matthews actually brought that up because I don't think sitting judges are allowed.
Well, you cannot.
Well, he's not
comment.
really sitting on anything right now.
You cannot as a judge. DAs have similar ethical limitations, but judges are very strict. As a judge, you cannot comment nor give any opinion about anything that deals with any pending law. Even though the county court judge just does criminal cases, New York State, you cannot give a comment on what's in front of the Supreme Court.
About family court.
So
anything.
Typically,
So
Brian's got the
away.
gift of gab. So typically, if you come on, you really can't say anything, and it becomes tiresome for people to hear a judge consistently say, I really can't give you my opinion on that. What's good now is those ethical limitations do not bind me whatsoever.
No, you're
Lawrence,
good. You
so
can go ahead
and I'm not
say
reluctant
whatever
to
you
give
want now.
not reluctant to give my opinion. So anytime there are questions, people that are listening on the radio call in if it has anything to do with criminal law or anything concerning criminal justice in the county. I now can answer, and for so many years I cannot. Our first guest is 7:30, right?
Yeah, we got 4 more minutes, and then we're going to
Okay.
go to break, and then we got John Nacarado at
John
7:30.
Nacarado at 7.
At 8 was supposed to be Vince Bradley, but he's going to come in next month.
I think Joe Deegan is going to.
Oh, is he good? So then
substitute.
you two can talk about the your upcoming. You guys are together for that.
Oh, I did see that. That's right. I
Yeah,
just
you're with
saw
Joe
today
Deegan.
on the.
I didn't see him. Now there was probably there. I went to the Benedictine Health Foundation ski thing up at Plattekill last week.
And let me, if I can, for a second about this, Lawrence, because I know that you do not like to do this too often. That what Lawrence
do it
is
once a
referring
year,
to is our radiothon. But I know that you may be reluctant to talk about it. So you
No, we
since
need
you're
to
so
talk about it because I forgot to bring
Well,
it up yesterday. So go
we
ahead
have
and
a
talk about it.
radiothon on March 31st, and it starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, ends at 5. I'm slated at 2 to 2:30 with Joe Deegan. But what people really have to understand, especially the people that are listening, without the money that is pledged or given at that radiothon, this show doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
And it's expensive. I mean, you were just talking about the expense of putting in a boom for microphones.
Right.
These microphones dated back to
Those
your
microphones,
dad.
I think Harry got those. Those things,
Harry Thayer.
I remember if you see the picture of my dad in the Freeman, the Sunday he passed away on a Friday. The Sunday it was in the Sunday Freeman in the Life section. He's sitting in there doing an editorial with a full head of hair. I was like, damn, I never knew my dad had all that hair. I was probably young. He was sitting there with one of these mics in front of him. I'm like, oh my God. And my mom said that photo was from. She said I was like 3 or 4 then.
Didn't he call the show that he did Editorial Chit Chat?
Yeah, he used to do editorial. Harry
Editorial
used to do
chit-chat.
editorial,
Yeah.
I think, once or twice a week. He was
tough. He was great.
Yeah,
Boy,
you know,
I remember, Mike, there were not many people that could cause Mike Kavanaugh Sr., the person I worked for, consternation. Harry Thayer could really cause Mike consternation.
people that I've met throughout life, either they've come up to me and been like, your grandfather was a great man, blah, blah, blah. Other people have been like, he is a da, da, da,
Wait
da,
a second.
da, da.
Harry Thayer was your grandfather?
Step-grandfather, actually. He wasn't, he was...
I didn't know
what happened,
that.
my grandmother was married to my dad's father. My dad has 3 half brothers and sisters, and then he has 1 real sister. She's the one that lives in the city. And then Harry's wife, Jo, she remarried Harry. She was married to, what the heck was his name was Morris Maxwell, her first husband.
Okay.
Then she married Harry, and then they had Mac, my Uncle Mac, and that's my dad's half brother. And actually, it's funny that we got a minute.
Yeah.
My dad was working at IBM. Okay, he was like a tech. He loved the computers. He was always into it. But he was working at IBM when Harry got sick. The other siblings didn't really want nothing to do with it. One of them was still in college. Harry said to my dad, Walt, I need you to come in, and I need you to, he didn't really want to leave IBM, but he came in, started running the station.
And then
I don't know
fell
if he
in
met
love
my
with her.
mom before or after that. I think they might have. My parents got married in '67, so I would imagine that they were already together then. So yeah, my father was working at IBM. Harry got sick. My father came in. Then my mother came on board. I think she was working at a law firm at the time. She came in, started My mom did if there's anyone that knows how to run a radio station, it's my mother. She did every single position until she ended up being the sales manager and the program director, but she did the books, she did traffic. I mean, she emptied the trash cans. She knows everything about
She's been amazing.
Radio. But,
good lady.
Yeah.
That
green couch in the thing, that's what Harry used to take his naps on.
Is that
during
right?
The day, yeah. And I said, Mom, we got to bring this couch with us, because she's like, I don't want anything to come with us. And I was like, I understand, because it was all dirty, and the place was just. So I was like, we got to take this couch and that table, that table.
I remember this table from the old place.
It's falling off on the side.
Yeah,
but that thing's been around since the 80s.
Yeah, I remember this table from when I was an assistant DA. It's amazing. It is amazing.
We'll go to break, and we'll be back with John Naccarato.
Sounds good.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? By shifting to a system that gives more patients access to strong primary care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
Screening exams for breast, lung, or colorectal cancers are necessary to detect and treat disease at its earliest, most curable stage. But you may have some concerns and questions. Answer your questions and ease your fears by visiting radiologyinfo.org. In addition to information on screening and wellness, you'll find more than 200 descriptions of radiologic exams, procedures, and treatments to help you prepare. Get informed and be prepared. Visit radiologyinfo.org. Produced by the Radiological Society of North America and the American College of Radiology.
There was this one time I went snorkeling in the Caribbean when I was a kid. It really just blew my mind. We saw the most beautiful corals. I remember thinking they were waving at us as they moved with the ocean. And then there were all these amazing fish. I'll never forget it. It completely changed the way I look at the ocean.
Most of us have a memory of being in nature we'll never forget. Let's protect the world's natural places so more memories can be made for generations to come. Visit worldwildlife.org.
Hi, my name is Jackie Lovezzo. I'm from Lake Katrine, and I support Kingston Community Radio because it is an invaluable resource to the community and its residents.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio has been brought to you by the First Savings Bank in Ulster County that still remains local to this day. Ulster Savings Bank, a community bank that's invested in local business, invested in community, invested in you. Ulster Savings Bank, your one-stop resource for everything local. Locations throughout the Hudson Valley and online at ulstersavings.com. Member FDIC.
Good morning again, Lawrence. I'm still somewhat confused by the co-hosting. When I see Lawrence in the window and he's in the production room and he has his hand up.
That means get ready.
I thought you had to go to the bathroom and you were asking for permission, but I couldn't.
No.
Yeah, I'm ready. We're really lucky enough to have John Naccarato with us here today. And as soon as John walked in, I said, John, I don't know much about this co-hosting stuff, so feel free to talk. John said, I can talk. And then we started going through history together about how we know each other, how I think, John J. Naccarato and Peter Naccarato, but you say they were like third cousins.
Like a third cousin to my father, yeah.
I do know your dad, and I knew your sister.
Yes.
Because your sister was with the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, the New York State Police, which is really a high accolade. And she was, when I was an assistant DA and then DA, she was excellent. But
I know she thought very highly of you.
Oh, that's something, John, people don't understand. That when I hear that, now that I'm retired, after doing this, what I did for 40 years, it means a great deal because I was not the easiest of DAs to work for or judges to appear before because I was very demanding. But the individuals, the lawyers that came in prepared, the police officers that were honest and hardworking and cared and fair, those are the ones that I hear later on that they appreciated what I did. And that says a great deal for those individuals.
Absolutely.
Because if you came in front of me unprepared, dishonest, or not fair, it was not a pleasant experience. So.
That's what should be expected.
And I could tell right away, John, I can tell right away because you do what I did for 40 years. You read the expressions on people's faces. You can tell what side of the bench the people were coming. Anyway, go on.
I do have to say this, that the first time I met you was at a Giants game, old Giants Stadium, obviously. And that's how we got talking. And I mentioned my sister's name because she always spoke highly of you. And you're like, oh, yeah, oh, my God.
Yeah, and I'm not reluctant. I am respectful to people, even if they're people that didn't come in prepared outside of the event. But if I say something good about somebody, especially, that's a long time ago. That's many years ago. But it means that I was really impressed.
This was in the 90s.
Yeah, that's for sure. I had to be district attorney then, or chief assistant. I don't recall, but I have very, very good and fond memories of how good your sister was. And I'm not one that talks like this often, but for a woman in the 90s, 80s, and 90s to first become a trooper, which is extremely difficult to do, but then climb the ranks to be a member of the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, the BCI, that is difficult now, but it was extremely difficult for any woman back in those days. So she was
tough.
She was exceptional.
She was tough. Can I tell a funny story?
Yeah, please.
So, did you know my Uncle Bert McConaughey?
Oh,
McConaughey, the funeral home at Acorn,
Bob McConaughey.
My Aunt Sue.
Oh, and Sue McConaughey, she was...
It's my mother's sister.
Tell the story and I'll touch on it in a second.
Here's a funny... I think she might have been on her first week on the job, or it could have been the first month. So she's not BCI, she's state police.
Oh, your sister.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were talking about your...
No, this is my sister. So she was, most of her career was Troop F, but she did, I think, start up here at a Hurley, and... It wasn't Stan O'Dell that was with her, but
Stan O'Dell was out of the Sorgetes area. He was a senior investigator.
I don't think he was in the car with her. So she had a senior in the car. So they're pulling up on Lucas Avenue.
You forget, senior investigator in the BCI. That is a huge position.
Yes, it is.
And the Stan O'Dell,
I love Stan.
Tough.
Good friend of mine.
Go ahead.
But so she's in the trooper cars. She's driving. Senior's in the passenger. They're at a light right by, used to be Stevens, now Kyoto.
Sure.
Funeral home's right there, right next to it.
Oh, well.
And there's a car in front of them, a little bit of space, and the car starts backing up in reverse towards the trooper car. And
it's a marked unit. It says
it's marked.
New York
It's
State
marked.
Police,
Yep. So the senior's like, Jackie, start backing up. This guy's backing up. He's like, oh my God. And all of a sudden, the guy gets out of the car and he comes up to the window and starts laughing at her, pointing. It's my Uncle Bert because he saw it. And she's like, oh my God, because he was a terrible tease. And it's my uncle. It's my uncle.
It's not too frequent that people will put their car in reverse when there's a marked patrol unit.
He would do it though.
Yeah. Good people. Yeah. And you know something, we're missing that a little bit, John. I'm so happy that you decided to stay here in the community, in Sorgetes principally.
Okay.
And you now, I understand, you bought Marianne DeGroots?
Yes. That was July 1st. I got to say this, that when you make
so
that
people
comment.
Don't know. This is, tell people what you do for those people that may not know.
Sure. I just wanted to say this. You said you're so glad we in this area. When I finished high school and college, a lot of friends that moved out of the area, and I understand why they did, but they're like, why are you staying in Saugerties? And it's like, you got to go out and see what else is out there. But I just felt the bond with the people growing up, dealing with my father's clients that were, the office was out of the basement on Market Street.
Right.
That I felt comfortable dealing with people, and I knew a lot of the people. So that's one of the reasons why I stayed in the area, and that's why we,
And look at the rewards that you're reaping also. I mean, there's something about this community. Now, it's changed dramatically.
Yeah, it has.
Some for the good, some not for the good. But look at the rewards you're reaping. I mean, Sorgetes now is a booming community that you have so much available to the people that live there that didn't exist before.
One of the coolest things, I think, seen was, and I think they used the phrase "cool," was it was on. I think I saw it on Yahoo search engine, and it said top 10 coolest towns, and Saugerties was in the top 10.
And I saw Kingston listed. It was on, I've forgotten, was it the New Yorker magazine about a year, 2 years ago?
That's right.
Listed as one of the top 10 places in the world to come and visit.
It's like Kingston, Saugerties, Woodstock, New Paltz, Rhinebeck, Red Hook. This area is like a beacon for the people out of New York City and other destinations.
And there is a great deal of good from that, John. I mean, we are now experiencing so many things that New York City has to offer that Kingston at the time I was growing up did not. However, and there is a big however here, I truly hope that the people that are coming to the community understand that this is a community that historically has been here a long time, and we really do applaud and welcome people to come in. But please understand, don't turn us into Brooklyn North. Let's evolve together. And I hope that's understood, because
you said that's well put, and I believe from the people that I've met, whether they're clients or just meeting out at restaurants, and I think they actually do get it. I think it's just an escape, and it's a different livelihood, and I think they love it. I think they love the locals.
Stop, and I know New York City is an entirely different area, but stop and think about spending your life in the area of New York City, or having to commute an hour and a half or 2 hours a day.
I think about that commute.
And then I was born and raised in the shadow of the courthouse where I worked my whole life, and then I took the adventure of moving about 12 blocks away. I literally can walk at a leisurely pace from my home to uptown Kingston. So I was fortunate. My commute in the morning, 5 or 10 minutes. It was classic. So when the New York City people come up here, and they experience no commute, the beauty of the nature and what is.
There's so much to offer,
And then there is a certain warmth. I mean, we have some negatives too, but there's a certain warmth that people have in a small community that when I go to New York City, if I walk down the street and if I had the audacity to say hi to somebody I never met before, they would literally think that there was a room waiting for me at the Mid-Hudson Psychiatric Center. I would not get a look, but and I could see something. You can tell right away it's a person from New York City, because I walk as much as I can now since I'm retired. And if I see somebody and I try to greet them, the eyes initially are down, and then they look up, and you can see that they really must enjoy.
There is something to that, 'cause when I go out to Boston to see my son at college, where we stay in the city, the people from the hotel, I think they see that we're a little different because we're always making a fuss and talking to them. So we've become friends, and I think they realize that these guys aren't from a big city.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to be friends with these guys that work at the hotel, the door guy, and where we go to lunch with them. And when I see other people, they're great dealing with people there, but I don't see like
It's not
a friendship that they've built, and we've kind of done that with these guys.
Well, it's New York City is tough, but let's get to your business.
Sure.
Take this moment to tell the people a little bit about your business, and most importantly, because people know you already, most importantly, how COVID has impacted what you do, and how the migration of people up from New York City has impacted. So please.
So we offer personal and business insurance, life and health. On the personal side, you have your auto, home, renter's insurance, personal umbrella, all the recreational, boat, motorcycles. So we offer all those products for personal. Commercial, you have your business owner's policy, workers' comp, general liability, property, and we're writing restaurants, large manufacturers, small business owners.
You're doing everything.
Pretty much, yeah. It's everything. We're not writing Yankee Stadium, those big type commercial accounts, but we're writing large to mid-size to small. And we're in, I think it's 6 or 7 states. So those out-of-states, we have like a special program where we do warehousing logistics.
Okay.
So we do New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania.
How does the
Florida.
licensing affect that when you have to go outside of New York State? I know there are strict requirements.
Some are reciprocal. I mean, it's basically, you do have to do your continuing education, and then it goes to those states. So it's mainly you're paying the actual licensing fees, but you got to keep your license in good standing.
Really kind of what it's about,
Yeah.
is licensing fees. So.
Exactly.
And how has the migration of people up from the city affected you? How's it affected business?
It's always been there since the early 90s. When I got into the business in 1989, there were people always buying a secondary home, but it's just increased dramatically.
Okay. Have you had to increase staff?
Yes, we've always, but because of the COVID, our staff people had worked at home. Some people didn't come back, and we are looking for more help right now. We're looking for
that's good.
Couple of people in Saugerty's office.
1.9 trillion, and I have obviously some strong feelings about that. But the 1.9 trillion that has will businesses like yours? I know restaurateurs get some significant needed help. Your business, will that receive any benefit from this Do you have a bridge going over to Canada, or do you have Underground Railroad in San Francisco? No, okay. Can't help myself sometimes because I despise politicians.
It's not going to benefit us. If anything, I see, maybe our taxes, going up, but
definitely,
in our business.
So you get there's nothing as far as impact for wages. I've forgotten what the PP something.
The PPP.
PP. What is that? What does that stand for?
So that's where you're getting the loan from the government.
Okay.
And that was.
But it has to be used primarily for salaries. Correct.
That was last year.
Okay.
And that's where you had to show that there was a
loss of income.
Right. This year, I think it's based on your quarterly. If you're down in revenue any quarter, and that was in 2020.
Regardless of what business you're in, if you can show that you're down in revenue significantly,
then you can get money.
Okay,
that's
understood,
correct.
Understood.
That's correct.
Well, that seems fair. It's just unfortunately where the rest of that 1.9 trillion is going is deeply offensive.
Yeah, and I don't think most people really know where it's all going. But
I don't think the people that voted on it know where it's going, other than the pork that was being given to particular legislators.
So, with us, it's in our business, you have to be able to adapt to change. Whether it's when it's with politics that affects you, with your revenue, with taxes, or if you're getting money or not. It's just like with the carriers may cut commissions, or all of a sudden they're not competitive.
And by carriers,
technology.
Again, you got to understand, it's like when I would talk to people about cases.
So
your role give us the level of what occurs as an owner of an insurance company. The carriers are the people that actually supply the insurance.
Yeah. So basically, like for us, we're an independent agent. So thankfully, because it's real tough when you just have a few carriers. We have over 50 carriers
again,
and that's the insurance companies.
So if somebody has an accident, suffers, and they're paid, it's the carrier
that's paying. That's correct.
Okay.
So we have the big brand names like Progressive, Allstate, Travelers, Nationwide.
Okay.
But there's so many carriers. You go to our website, you'll see the list of the carriers.
But you're not connected specifically to any carrier.
We're not an employee.
Independent.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the key. So if I lose a customer because, say, they're going out of state or they're moving to, up in Albany and they want a local agent.
The customer comes to you, again, because I'm a fairly bright person, but I didn't understand. My best friend is Alan DeForest from the DeForest
Yes, I know Alan, yeah.
So but I never understood what in God's name he does, which is even more.
You don't ask, you just rely on him, you trust him, and you count on him, right? And that's the relationship. But with the insurance companies, if you have multiple carriers, then you can shop the customer
So
through
an
different carriers.
independent broker.
We're an agent and a broker.
Independent agent and broker. You can contract out with the carriers that supply the insurance.
That's correct.
Obviously, they are getting a significant amount of what the insured who makes payments, the premiums, pretty much goes to the carrier, and you get some type of fee as a result of your because an individual like me, I can't just call the people at the carrier and get insured. You have to go to an insurance agent or broker.
That's right. Okay. So if someone did leave us and they say they moved out of state or wherever, we would recommend them to go to independent agent because they have multiple carriers, and then you don't have to switch. Hey, my rate went up $200. You don't have to go to another agent. You basically can stay with that same agent, and they can shop you.
Great.
But sometimes, Don, the
and
customer...
your interests are the customer's interests.
Yes, absolutely. And Don, the customers sometimes don't realize that, or they may say, why didn't you call us to get a better rate? There's too many customers in most agencies for you to call them every year. I've been with the same carrier, it's Preferred Mutual, since I was 16 years old.
Wow.
So I was on my parents' policy. When I turned 21, I went on my own with Preferred. I've never shopped. It's the relationship, the rates, they go up and down.
Sure.
So, if they were not going out of business, but if they were going having hard times and their rating dropped and the rates tripled, then I would think about leaving. But you want to build some kind of relationship when there's claims and you have 2 or 3 or 4, maybe they'll keep you because you've been there for that many years. And that's where you go to your agent to say, they can fight for you. They fight for you for your claims, to help you go through that process, maybe to keep you with that carrier, even though you have, a few incidents, tickets, accidents. They look how many years you've been there and have you been a profitable, desirable client for them to keep.
As you're an independent agent, you can deal with so many of the carriers.
Exactly.
And when the insured, the person that needs insurance, goes to you, you in essence can shop for them.
That's right.
What is best?
And even with the carrier they're through, you might be able to do something through that carrier because as time has gone by, they may have some new discounts that you can't apply midterm, or they may have a new rating tier that is cheaper, less expensive than they had previously. So you go to the company and say, hey, on renewal, can we switch them to that new plan?
Understood.
So customers would never know that.
No, definitely not. Again, I don't think I consider myself unintelligent yet when it comes to the insurance industry. My best friend since high school is Alan DeForest. I still don't know what in God's name he does. Alan is so bright, such a great
He has
person.
a different model, and his model's worked out great for him. And
what is that model? Apparently, he's in all over the state.
He has other agencies that go through him to use his carriers.
All right.
And he has people that underwrites for that. It makes their job easier. It's hard to get these carriers
because
you have to meet commitments.
Your young person passes the exam. You now become a broker or an agent, whatever it's titled, but you still have to get these large carriers.
It's tough to get your own agency. It's tough.
So they can go to Alan, somebody that starts out.
That's right.
Alan, in essence, because he has such a good reputation with all of the carriers, he can act I hate this term, but almost like a middleman.
Yeah, that's
okay.
No, you got it right there.
That now I have a much better understanding, and
most people don't understand Geico. It right now is the biggest writer in New York State
because they have great commercials.
They do have great. They're funny as anything.
Great commercials.
Might be a couple. I don't think was done well, but the majority of them are really good. And it's the branding. It's repetitious. It gets into your head, and
absolutely,
it's easy. It's the younger generation look at it. But here's the thing with Geico. I would bet 8 out of 10 agents, independent agents, could beat the pricing of Geico. But Geico, the thing is, the customer, like you said, Don, you don't understand it all. Well, most consumers really don't. You may understand some of your coverages, but there's more than that first, second, third page of your policy. There's the guts of the policy, where their form may be different than Traveler's form or Progressive's form. So you need an agent to help you through that. And then there's the old thing called bait and switch, where most of the carriers, when we quote someone, we run that MVR to pick up those tickets, accidents, that clue report picks up those claims, and it's accounted for in the quote, where some carriers, direct writers, or some other carriers, where they don't run those reports up front. So when you get that quote, it's lower than what you have with Nacarado, and then 2 months later, the price goes up because they ran your report.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Well,
you know what? I have many general rules I follow. Many general rules I don't follow, but one of them is the people or the businesses, regardless of what it is, that market so aggressively on TV or on radio or in the papers, I try to stay away from them, principally because they're putting a lot of their money into the marketing. And the marketing is what sells us. But if the money that they have is going into marketing, it's being taken from somewhere else.
That's right.
Typically out of your pocket. So I don't mean to criticize other agencies or anything, but across the board, what is it, Madison Avenue in New York City? Is that where the advertisers are that do all these wonderful ads?
Yeah, there's quite a few there. I have to say, if you're of any age, you're best to go to an independent agent, even going through a captive agent like State Farm, than going on the internet or going to the direct writers.
And how do you know, for the people out there, how do you know that the individual that you're going to is an independent agent?
That independent agency won't have the signage saying State Farm or Allstate.
Understood.
It'll say, their last name or the name of their company.
Understood.
And, one of our carriers is Allstate. So Allstate, as a carrier, has realized for years, it was captive agents. They've realized that there's a lot of value with independent agents, and there's news to come with Allstate, too, in the next year or so. They may be changing their model even more geared towards independent agents.
Independent agents, when you deal with these different companies, will you get the same benefits from those individual companies that their captive agents get? Did that question make any sense?
The pricing with us with Allstate is the same as if you just go to a captive Allstate agent.
That's what I was trying to ask it.
But the only thing is, if with us, you're with Allstate with us for 5 years, and the rate went up $400, $500, we can go to another carrier.
Yeah,
And
understood.
then we have the multiple locations. We're in Saugerties is our main office. New Paltz, we've been down there since the early 90s, and then now July 1st last year, Marianne DeGroot sold her agency to us on July 1st, and we're looking to
You're here on what? Is it Fair Street?
237 Fair Street, right across from DMV.
I walk by it every day. I should.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. And we're really looking to join the community more than ever, give back, whatever we can do to help, and we're looking to grow the business. And you have to be in it for the long run. You got to be all in our business, because of the change and the competition, but we've made the commitment, and we're here for the long run, and we love to service the communities.
Well, and John, I know you. I've known you from some time. It's hysterical. It was a Giants game. I must have been there with the former Judge Feeney. Did I go with that group?
Yeah, you were with Feeney was there. We were using at that time Albert Herdlicker's tickets, because his 4 seats were in that group.
Al is a lawyer out of Saugerties. His son. I worked with Al when I was a young assistant DA. How much time, Lawrence? Because I'm
about 2 minutes.
Great. And his son was an assistant DA for me. So hello, Joe. All right, so we got about 2 minutes left. Once again, since I'm following the directions I read early this morning, we're here with John Naccarato, who is a lifetime Saugerties resident, is an independent insurance agent / broker, and has given back a lot to this community. I know that personally from my experience with you. Is there anything in particular that you want to leave the people with?
I will leave this, that my father and I, in that office every day, if you need to see us, we're there. Now, we may be on the phone or with a customer, but we're not shy to hide from the smallest client to the largest client. We're involved, and we have a lot of passion and love for our business, so we do care a lot.
Great. And John, pleasure getting to see you this morning.
And Tony might be worried about, you may be stealing his job here.
No.
He's watching on TV. I just talked to him.
No. Tony, please don't worry about it. Once again, I want to give my sincere thanks to Tony Marmo, who, between he and the double team I had with Lawrence Maxwell, forced me to come on and co-host. And he loves...
Strong-armed you.
I was strong-armed. Well, you didn't strong-arm me. You bought me a perfect bourbon Manhattan on the rocks, if I recall. Tony Marmo, good people. And John, it's great seeing you. This is...
Thank you, Don. Thanks, Tony.
Tony, we miss you. You take care,
Let's
sir.
go to break,
Good
and we'll be back with Joe Deegan. Take care, buddy.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM. And also online at mykcr.org.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Grammer. Wounded Warrior Project supports injured veterans by connecting them with fellow warriors, by serving them through mental health and wellness programs, and by empowering them to live on their own terms. No one should face a battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Hi, this is Tony Marmo from Norman Staffing, and we've been bringing together employers and job seekers since 1980. If you're an employer and have job vacancies, let Norman Staffing help fill them with permanent or temporary workers. We screen, interview, and recommend the best candidates for your company. We make the employment process easier and faster for you. Please call Norman Staffing for your employment needs at 338-9111, 338-9111, or normanstaffing.com.
Hi, this is Winnie from the Rosendale Seniors, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This programming is brought to you by the Friends of Kevin Cahill. As a strong advocate of local broadcasting, Assemblymember Cahill urges you to support Kingston Community Radio with your time and donations. Your contributions keep KCR vital and on the air at FM 92.5, AM 920, and on the web at mykcr.org. Please join Assemblymember Cahill and send your gifts of $10, $25, or more to Kingston Community Radio, Post Office Box 4364, Kingston, New York 12402. Together, let's keep KCR alive.
Yeah. Well, good morning again.
That means you're back.
Lawrence had his hand up again. And again, I'm not quite sure exactly what that means, but now I'm discovering, because this is Don Williams, or Donald Williams. I'm called many other things also. We won't get into that. But Tony Marmo, who normally hosts this with me, this show, could not be here this morning. I guess he's watching on TV, and I will be graded on my next meeting. But we're lucky again to have Joe Deegan with us. Joe, who is mainly commercial real estate, correct, Joe?
That's all we do.
Okay.
Commercial.
And the last time Joe was on, was that last month you came on with me, Joe?
Thinking it was
Tony?
either January or February. I think it was January.
And it was one of my first experiences co-hosting.
No?
And I was
brought
a
you back.
guest regularly, which
Yeah.
the guest part I loved.
So you've been
Co-hosting is
elevated.
not easy. Well, Tony doesn't say that's an elevation. However, what I did learn, because I've had some people I've asked to watch so they can critique, so I can get better at this, and they really liked you as a guest.
Wow, there's
And they said the only suggestion, Don, I mean, you've got a good radio voice. They said, and you ask interesting questions. The only suggestion, especially when Joe Deegan is on, let the guy talk. So,
Wow.
Joe, this morning.
I usually don't have that problem.
No, I should let you talk.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Anyway.
I'm not shy.
So let's start. What's new since the last time we spoke, or what is it specifically you'd like to tell us going on in commercial real estate?
Front page of the Daily Freeman would prove to be an excellent segue to answer that question.
Let's hear it.
Lighting company eyes move to Ulster.
Oh.
Proposal calls for 53 jobs.
That's fantastic.
I am very happy to say we are the brokerage firm handling the sale.
Oh, great.
And, Don, we kind of covered last time. You and I have been here our whole lives.
Right.
And my whole life, especially in my vocation, my field, people always say to me, gee, why don't you go to Brooklyn and get a light manufacturing company to come up here and repurpose one of the old IBM buildings?
Right.
We did. It finally.
This company's from Brooklyn.
They're an industry city in Brooklyn. I mean, this is, from an economic development standpoint, this is like the holy grail of what we've all been talking about for, frankly, decades.
So now at some point, maybe not in the beginning, they probably will get some tax benefits for moving
They
up.
were approved by the IDA yesterday.
Great. And for people that don't understand that?
People that don't understand that IDA provides a number of benefits to a new company relocating or expanding in Ulster County. Short and simple, I guess the most prominent example, suppose we had an assessment of $1 million on this building. And
Meaning the IBM building that they now will be moving into.
Yeah.
Okay.
So suppose there was $1 million assessment, which generated $100,000 a year in real estate taxes. And suppose when they were done doing another $1 million of renovation, now the assessor walks out and says, here's, congratulations, here's a $2 million assessment, your taxes just doubled, right? The IDA allows for what's called a pilot agreement, which stands for payment in lieu of taxes, which basically freezes that $1 million assessment. It can come in any number of flavors. I'm being very general here.
Right.
And then we step up the additional $1 million worth of improvements over a 10 or 15-year period. So
Fantastic.
we give and this is the critical thing that people often do not understand. If you follow what I just said, the municipality and the school district didn't lose a dime. The base assessment doesn't change. What does change is a future assessed value and how that is taxed. So nobody's short a dime day one. We've just assisted this company moving forward and gotten, therefore, a ramped up version of another $1 million of assessed value over a period of time.
Joe, I had no idea. Oh, we have a call.
Oh.
Who's calling in? My first call.
Hey, good morning. It's Cam Rylance.
Cam, how are you?
I am great, and I was reading with great enthusiasm the same article you're talking about, and what immediately jumped to mind was, are the same people that were squawking about the Kingstonian tax breaks, are they going to squawk about these tax breaks as well? I'm just wondering, where the hypocrisy is going to fall.
Cam, that is an excellent question. And obviously the Kingstonian you're referring
to. Thanks, guys. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Cam, and good talking to you. What Cam, to begin with, and then I will defer to you, Joe, what Cam is referring to is the development, which is long overdue, to that vacant area on the corner of North Front and Wall Street. Mm-hmm. And I was born and raised on Crown Street, a block and a half away. So it is long overdue. It will bring so much to this community. Yet, and some people may have legitimate concerns about it, but there are the pilot that you're describing is comparable. In order for people to invest their money into a project in a community, especially in New York State, where taxes are so outrageous and we've lost so many businesses, some benefits have to be given. I never knew, and thanks, Cam, I never knew exactly what the pilot was. I never knew that. Now I understand. It's the tax base is a certain level.
Yeah.
It's assessed, and what the pilot does is just put out over longer periods how quickly the assessment goes up.
Assessment, yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, and again, I mean, this is about as good as it gets, frankly. This is 53 jobs relocating from Brooklyn. These folks make LED light fixtures shipped all over the world to the hospitality and restaurant business. So a fairly high-tech field, LED light fixtures, green energy, repurposing a 100,000 square foot building, new jobs. I mean, by the way,
53
congratulations.
53 new families.
Yeah, congratulations to the IDA. They approved unanimously yesterday.
How long did that take?
I met, what is it? It is March. All in, this has been relatively quick. I believe my first interaction with this company was roughly about a year ago. I showed them a series of sites. They landed on this one.
And how long did it take to get IDA approval? I mean, is that the only approval that has?
IDA was they got a series of benefits. The IDA, well, understand the IDA there's a multi-pronged process. To say this is approved is a little bit of a misnomer. They were induced yesterday unanimously. There's a public hearing, and then final approval happens shortly.
Understood. So you have to
probably a 6-month period all in.
There is a board.
Yeah.
The IDA.
Yeah.
They have to recommend, I take it? Is that what inducement means?
Yeah, they have to, basically say, this meets the merits of what we're trying to achieve in economic development in this county. This checks all the boxes.
Great. Then there has to be a public hearing. And this is all by state regulation or state law, I take it.
Yeah.
So then after the hearing, how long does it take to get the hearing?
This is going to be a quick process.
Okay.
No,
this
will be finished next month.
After a public hearing, there's a vote. Who votes?
The IDA board.
The IDA board. Once they vote approval, what happens next? Does it have to go in front of the Kingston Common Council?
No,
Does it have to go
this is in the town of Ulster. No, the IDA.
That's right. You said IBM.
Has the entire
Great.
authority. By the way, another little misnomer, or not misnomer, in Kingston. For all my life, people have been saying IBM, and I just kind of committed the same sin.
Right.
So years ago, for those who don't know, which is probably the majority of our listening audience, the IBM quote-unquote campus is seen as one by the public. Why wouldn't it be, right? You drive through and you're like,
Sure.
oh, IBM was here. Well, the reality is IBM was the vast majority of what we now know as Tech City. There were 3 buildings built by a company named Edgewater Development out of Syracuse.
Right.
That leased buildings to IBM. So this is one of the Edgewater buildings.
Understood.
This is not on the
Understood.
Tech City campus. This is immediately adjacent. But does it matter? Does it matter?
It's a vacant
It's a
building.
100,000 square foot building getting put to work.
And the tax ramifications will be great for the community. Yeah. And probably equally more compelling is we are beginning to fill the vacuum of when IBM employees left. And people just, in this community,
only took us 25 years.
We didn't get how important IBM was to this community, and we're coming out of that now. If you know, and this is fantastic, 53, not just employees, 53 families. So when somebody's employed and it's a fair paying job, they are also they're paying taxes, they're going to buy property, they're going to buy at the grocery stores and things of that nature. The ramifications are tremendous.
I got news for you. So as I covered 1 or 2 interviews ago, I am a CCIM, which nobody in the world knows what that is. But I'd be happy to tell you. That's the highest designation you can get in a commercial investment field. It's effectively graduate level work.
Okay.
Of finance, marketing, leasing, and demographics of commercial real estate. It's very interesting, at least for a geek like me. I dove right in, and I've never looked back. One of the courses I had to take was demographic analysis of this type of stuff. And certain things you never forget.
And again, Joe, sometimes we speak in language that what do you mean by demographic analysis?
So a demographic is who lives here, what age group, what income strata, where are they working, what's the family size, what is the
Okay.
demographic, and I know I just answered the question with the answer, but
That's all right.
so let's just say, and I don't know that this is the number, okay, but let's just say there's an average of a $40,000 a year salary here. I have no idea what it is. That salary is spun in our local economy times 7.
That's amazing. And I knew it was
$280,000 of economic money
times 53.
cranking through our local economy.
Times 53.
It's a tsunami.
It's amazing.
It's a tsunami.
Yeah, that's great. And because initially, and that's why it's so good to have folks like you explain this. Initially, some people only get 53 people. What's the big deal?
Yeah, it's huge.
That's the big deal.
That is so. If my math is right, and again, I'm not representing what this company pays their employees, though I would bet I'm not too far off.
That sounds reasonable.
So do that math as you just said. Time it's $14 million.
How many people they'll probably bring some employees with them?
Well, they've been
but
coming
they may
up.
Also hire.
They've been coming up every weekend with like a swath of 10 to 12 of their employees, taking them through the building, giving them the flavor of what it is, and then I'm happy to say, given my Irish heritage and my friendship with Tom Keegan, I've been sponsoring a little welcome hour for them over at Keegan.
That's a great place, and give Tom give Tom some support here.
Yep, so that they can get the flavor of what Kingston is, and so I've met them over there after, and they're all like, these are Brooklyn folks.
And you're referring to Keegan Ale, located where?
St. James Street.
St. James Street, great place.
So they've been kind of like, wow, like we had no idea that this place was here and what it is.
Sure.
No, it's what gets me up in the morning.
Now, if I can, and I know that this is outside of the purview of what you're talking about with the company that's coming in, what in God's name could you, as Cam just said, can you explain to me what in God's name is going on with the development that
Kingstonian?
Yes. Why is this taking so long? This has been 30 years that they've been trying to do something here. And I remember when they had that white elephant of a garage that was in decay. It was the site of crime.
Yeah.
Finally, that was torn down, but now we just have this vacant lot in what is now a thriving uptown community. What is the holdback here? What is the problem?
There's as best as I can tell, the answer is I don't know, but from what I surmise, I've been to a bunch of the public hearings. There's a slew of people who, I don't necessarily disagree with them at face value, who are saying, hey, wait a minute, there needs to be affordable housing in a major way as a part of this project.
But it is. There is.
There is a piece of affordable housing. I go the other way. I listen, I love this community, fairly invested in this community. I like to think I have my finger on a lot of what's going on. And, there's so many unsung heroes in this world and in Ulster County, namely Rubco, right? We've done our share, in my humble opinion, of providing us a large inventory of affordable housing. So that's where my disconnect is, and I'm obviously a bullish real estate guy, so where I come down on this issue.
Sure.
But when I try to be objective and pull back and say, what's the issue? Well, if we weren't creating any affordable housing whatsoever, you know what? I gotta be a little more open to this argument. But the fact of the matter is, we're via Rubco providing more affordable housing than most communities in the Hudson Valley.
All right.
So
and then is Rubco involved at all with this development?
Kingstonian? No. It's strictly private.
But by law, either local or state law, a certain percentage of the housing that's built must be designated for affordable housing. Is it 10%? I can't. The percentage.
I don't know what that number is.
I was surprised. I think it's 10%, perhaps more. So that has been designated as part of the plan.
It's in the plan.
So then, what is the issue?
The issue, in my opinion, from sitting on the sidelines, and I'm not fully invested in this project, though. Clearly, in the let's build it category.
But as a resident of the community, you are.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I just what I'm saying is I don't know the ins and outs of this ledger. I can speak generically about it once again and give you the same example I gave for this lighting company. Your base assessment is what it is. They're getting a ramp up over a period of years. People don't like that. People view that as
it's much better for us to have a vacant lot that produces no income. I'm not arguing with you, Joe. I'm just saying this is ridiculous.
So people say this is welfare for developers. I humbly disagree.
The simple reality is for developers to be willing to dig into their own pockets and make an investment that they could lose on, they could gain on, there has to be some motivation. Now, at the same point, there are strict regulations. I mean, yes, Uptown Kingston, I was born and raised here. It has a historical feel to it. You've got to develop your plans that fit in. And I remember the plans from probably 30 years ago did not. But they did that. I understand that you have to pay taxes. But now understanding how a pilot works, I'm much more fond of the idea. And then on top of that, the simple reality is you've got a vacant lot. It's still an eyesore. And to bring more homes, more nice homes into the community, whether they're condominiums, townhouses, whatever they want to be qualified. And on top of that, bringing in a large segment of that will be affordable housing. What are we going to do? Just stop this?
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Well,
you're talking to the wrong guy. I mean,
it's not fair because we both agree. We have the same feeling.
Correct.
So I look, I read, I could tell from the tone of Cameron's voice that he is upset by the fact this is not going forward. My fear is this, Joe. Number one, yeah, I'm a lawyer. I don't practice anymore. I was a DA, I was a judge. I happen to think we live in a too litigious society, even though I'm a lawyer.
Could you say that again?
I will say it. I used to say it's why there are some lawyers that are not fond of me, because don't bring your frivolous lawsuits in front of me as a judge. Right. It's not going to work, and I would throw them out.
What made you a good judge?
Thank you. But now, at the same time, there are legitimate reasons for lawsuits.
Of course.
But we are too litigious. We're told at an early age, if something happens, you sue them. Right. And that's not the right approach. No. Consider it, always. Go see a lawyer, get advice, and then you make the decision. But I understand that there are lawsuits being filed all over the place that is further delaying this project. And I will not get into the specifics unless I give that person the opportunity to be heard right across the seat from me.
100%.
I will not mention that person's name, but my understanding it's a competitor that is bringing these lawsuits.
Yeah,
and a competitor who also has purchased property, and it's going to hell. I walk by the properties every day that the property was purchased. Nothing is being done in it. Nothing.
I have no answers.
Well, I wish the Daily Freeman or some other paper would do some investigative journalism and start calling some shots that may not be politically expedient or popular. Yeah. That's how I feel. And so when I talked before about, before you came on, Joe, that there's so much that the city has brought to us. Here's another example. People coming up, good people from Brooklyn that are doing a business through you, and as a result of that, the community is going to be blessed. We've learned so many more progressive things that we did need to learn. Yeah. But don't come up, buy things because it's a tax advantage for you when you've sold property in New York City and you have to reinvest quickly to avoid the tax ramifications, and let the property sit for long periods of time, and then stop other projects. Yes, the people that invest into the Kingstonian, they're going to make a profit at some point. That is why they're taking the risk. That is why people don't do it out of the goodness of their heart. But some of the people that are investing in the Kingstonian are invest in the community.
Yeah, well,
and they've given back so much to the community, so it's not just about profit to them.
Yeah. Well, dovetailing into that, and you say the Kingstonian developers are taking a risk, they are expecting a profit at some point. Yes, They are. That is kind of what has built this nation.
That's what
Whether
this
you
is
like
about.
it or not, I am a free market capitalist. Let me be very clear about that.
And there has to be some control and restraint on that, and there is.
Yes, there does, and yes, there is. But as I always say with my broker hat on, when I meet with clients who are looking to sell property, and guess what? Just about everybody I meet with thinks they own the crown jewel of Ulster County, and they proceed to tell me why it's worth what it's worth and how wonderful it is. That's our nature. Every seller thinks they've got the best piece of real estate. That's fine. It's my job to sort of bring them into reality and explain it. What I often say to them is, okay, I say, I'm sitting here across the table from you, and I often just put my commercial lender hat on, because I got news for you. At the end of the day, there's this thing called a bank, and they're only going to loan X amount of money for X amount of real estate to do X amount of things. Back to your Kingstonian. Yeah, these guys are risking their capital, their expertise, their time. But sooner or later, I got news for you, they're going to go to this thing called a bank. And you go, hey, bank, we need, $40 million. Banks too, guess what, are in the for-profit business.
Right.
So, I don't understand how there's this cascade of, I heard this person at this public hearing go, I just don't, all we really want in Kingston is a new 400 parking garage, and you can kill everything else on top of it. Oh, sure, I hadn't thought of that. I guess I'll just build a parking garage and donate half the spots to the city and have no revenue stream.
And you're referring, of course, the parking, which is a part of the Kingstonians' plan.
So it's all a mystery to me. Look,
I don't. It is a mystery to me. It's beyond my expertise.
I sit with lenders and appraisers all day long. There's all sorts of metrics, ratios that need to be met in order for a project to move forward.
And I do understand that, and I understand the process. That's why I asked about, now this is a smaller project. It's still big, the one that is now coming into Kingston from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But I'm so impressed that it went through the process so quickly.
It did.
Now the Kingstonian is a much more grand, and it does have impact on the environment. It does have impact on the community. But it's really not just the Kingstonian, but the development of that area at a time when Uptown Kingston was not thriving and really needed it. It's been going on for 30 years or longer. Now the Kingstonian, how long has this been now? 5, it seems? It's 5 years?
It's got to be, yeah.
So why?
Well, hey, look.
Just either say yes or no. Don't.
Well,
and the money that's been invested. Don't say no.
Don't get me going.
Don't say no. The money that's been invested by the people. Now,
all at risk, by the way. All at risk. So far, these folks have put, I don't know, $3 million in this project. Got to be for architectural plans, engineering plans, renderings,
maybe
approvals,
more than that, but
legal.
yes.
I'm guessing. I have no idea. I'm not privy to that number, but it's real money where I come from. Completely at risk.
Absolutely.
Completely.
And they are taking
down
a risk.
the drain.
They're taking a risk. Of course they're going to do that in large part because of the profit that will be available to them, because of the tax ramifications and breaks initially. And look at it this way. My school taxes are enough. My taxes are enough. I'm paying over $13,000 a year for a half an acre lot. And at some point, I might say enough is enough. But this is something that we will receive some tax benefits from. We will have people moving into the community, and we will have affordable housing. Knock it off, politicians, and knock it off people that are over litigious. Let your competitors develop, and if you are worried about it, give a better product yourself instead of letting buildings you've bought decay.
Amen.
In Uptown Kingston.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I feel like I'm back on the bench.
It's good to see you get as riled up as I do.
Well, you should have seen me on murder cases. That was really... We only have about a minute left. Joe, again, I really enjoy, although I know nothing about real estate, I really enjoy your being here. Your explanations are wonderful. Good. It's Joe Deegan once again. I've been told to make sure you repeat the guests. I'm learning. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? We have about a minute, Joe.
I'll close. We talked very little about it last time. The firm that Tom Collins and I are business partners in is a national firm. A lot of people just know me as Joe Deegan or Tom Collins as two local guys, which we are. But when we affiliated with SVN, it gave us some big wings on our back. For example, we have medical office specialists, land specialists, retail specialists. I can provide an auction nationwide online through my auction division. It gave us a whole host of real estate services that we simply didn't have before. So when we stumble across a larger transaction of, say, $2, $3, $4 million, we really have the ability to market that now nationwide, even though we're local guys. And that has been an invaluable addition to what Tom and I do.
Great.
With, by the way, Fred Hugh and Nilgan Foley are on our team, and we're having fun. We're having fun every day, thank God.
Well, Joe, please send Tom and everybody my best, and thank you for taking time out from, I know it is a busy schedule right now to come
thank
on
you.
in.
Yes, thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
All right, and before we go to break, a few listeners had called in. We did have no birthdays today, so that's why we kind of just rolled right over that segment. So tomorrow there are quite a few, so we're going to go to a break, and then we'll be back with Kevin Bryant.
Thanks a lot.
You're listening to Kingston Community Radio on WGHQ Kingston. On your radio at 920 AM and 92.5 FM, and also online at mykcr.org.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
Introducing the YMCA. Sure, you know the Y for a swim or a game of hoops, but we're more than that. We're a cause. When you take a jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Practice yoga as a team practices her leadership skills. We give people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds a chance to learn, grow, and thrive. So while you might think of the Y as the place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. That's the Y. We're so much more. Visit ymca.net/more.
Have you ever experienced a wish come true? For a child battling a critical illness, a wish come true can be a turning point. One song, one dance, one game, one adventure, one moment changes everything. Make-A-Wish needs your support to grant the wish of every eligible child. Visit wish.org now to help grant more life-changing wishes. Together, we can transform lives, one wish at a time.
Someone in your town, at your school, or where you work is suffering from Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. They're dealing with excruciating pain and days when they can't even get out of bed. Chances are someone you know has Crohn's or colitis. Someone like me. I'm Amy Brenneman, and I'm asking you to support the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America to help millions of us cope and to find cures. Visit ccfa.org today to learn more. Help someone you know get back to their lives at ccfa.org.
Hi, this is Jim Quigley, Supervisor of the Town of Ulster, and I support Kingston Community Radio, and so should you.
This portion of Kingston Community Radio is brought to you by Ulster Savings Bank. Visit their newest branch, conveniently located at the Ulster Commons Plaza in Lake Katrine. Experience the difference that local community banking offers with the convenience of another great location, easy access, plenty of parking, and a 24-hour ATM. Ulster Savings Bank, invested in community, invested in you. Member FDIC.
Okay. Thank you again, Lawrence. I almost did. I almost called you Walter again.
You call me Walter at least 3 or 4 times.
But you got to.
It's okay. I love my dad, and that's fine.
And I've known you for such a long time. I keep doing it. It's Don Williams co-hosting today, although the principal host, Tony Marmo, could not come in. And I'm going to introduce the next guest. and he's already a little bit concerned, I think, about what the introduction will be like, because this is a special person, and a special person to me because we go back a long time, and also a special person to this community because he is one of the rock stars now in Ulster County. He is born and raised here, Kevin, correct? Born.
Raised here, born in Brooklyn, but raised
So
here
you're-
just all.
I didn't know you were from Brooklyn and you came up, but that was how many years ago?
My mother moved back up here. My mother and father came. I was 1, 2. I was that young. So I mean, she's been a lifelong.
See, you're a life. You were almost born and raised here.
I've been here just about all of my life.
Well, it's for the listening audience that cannot see, which is being covered at YouTube, apparently. I'm learning this. This is Kevin Bryant, who currently has the position of Corporation Counsel for the City of Kingston. We've had some great news that I'm not sure what I can and cannot say, so I'll leave that to you. Some great news about Kevin and also for this community, but Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on. I know I didn't threaten you. I didn't induce you in any other way than to tell you it would be a chance to come on early in the morning, take a little time out from what your busy schedule is to be able to talk to the people that listen to this radio show. And Kevin, if we continue to get people on like you, and I'm going to try to suck you in here on a regular basis, at least once every other month, but if we didn't get people like you, we wouldn't be able to have this radio show work. So I do appreciate. Now, don't think for a second that because I appreciate your being here that I'm going to owe you a favor. I do not. I do appreciate it, and maybe I'll buy you a drink if I get to see you out again. But Kevin, tell us a little bit about I'd like, since this is your first time on this show, is that correct?
On this show, yes.
Okay. The people out there really need to know a little bit about your background, and I know of it a lot myself since you worked with me at the District Attorney's Office. Tell the people a little about your background.
First, Don, I got to thank you for.
Move that mic closer to you, Kevin, because you have that very soft, strong voice. I just did. Thanks.
Well, first,
Kevin, come a little closer to the mic, please.
Okay.
See, I tried to do that very politely but bring that right close to you. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and then
good now?
Don't be afraid to speak up.
Well, Don, first, let me thank you for having me on the show. It's a fantastic opportunity. I appreciate you and everything that you've done for me as well as the community, and there was a little apprehension about coming on with you, but I knew I'd be safe.
Kevin only says that because Kevin, when I was district attorney, Kevin was an assistant, worked under me, and knows two things. Number one, I will be very direct, and number two, I like to tease the people that are closest to me. So, but you never should have any apprehension. I would never do anything. I will tease, but I would never do anything to embarrass a public official unless they deserved to be embarrassed. You do not. You do not. You have paid your dues.
I appreciate that.
And you've worked diligently. We're going to let you go through it. Kevin has worked in private practice, which is difficult enough as a lawyer, worked with Mike Brune Jr., to some respect, at least out of the same building, was an assistant district attorney part-time, assigned to handle some of the most serious cases in some of our local criminal courts. You have been corporation counsel, which God bless you for that, and I will not hit you with any hardball questions. I will not do that now. If you come back again and I give you a heads up, I will.
And I've been fairly warned.
Yes, and you know me also. I don't think there's so many people in the public, and we haven't touched on the Supreme Court stuff, and I'm not sure if we can. I'll let you explain that later. People in the general community simply do not understand so much And it's not out of ignorance in any fashion, because you know me. I don't care what your degree is, whether you're a lawyer or working in sanitation, the highest form of intelligence is common sense. But people on the outside, they don't know what we do. I doubt many people thought the district attorney and the county attorney were the same thing. They're clearly not. Can you tell the people what the Corporation Counsel does?
The Corporation Counsel oversees all of the legal aspects.
And it's for the city of Kingston.
City of Kingston. The advisor to the mayor, the council, and all the departments, handles initially all the legal issues that come in, with the exception of some areas that are handled by outside counsel.
Give an example of some of the legal issues that may come into the city that you'd have to look at. I mean, it's everything, but...
Well, from, negligence matters, auto accidents, trip and falls, a lot of the labor issues that will come in.
Labor issues meaning union agreements, contracts?
Well, we have outside counsel that basically handles the more serious labor issues, but I have involvement to a certain extent in everything.
You're almost in a supervisory capacity, or at least you have the responsibility to act as a liaison between Common Council, the mayor, and those outside issues through outside counsel. One person or a staff cannot handle every legal issue. It's overwhelming. So when it gets to something that requires more specific attention, then the city will bring outside counsel, another attorney in to come to assist, basically, correct?
We're a small office. I have one assistant and a secretary. And
one assistant being one lawyer?
Yes.
Is that full-time?
Full-time.
And for example, comparing that to the district attorney's office, when I was DA, we had 11 part-time assistant DAs and I think 8 full-time assistants. Now I think they have 25 full-time assistant DAs. And obviously, those are also handling murders and rapes, but you have significant issues. Every legal issue that arises in the city of Kingston has to, in some fashion, go through your office. And you have one.
Yeah.
One assistant corporation counsel, and how many secretaries?
One.
How many administrative assistants?
I have one secretary in my office.
Administrative assistant. You're old school like I am.
I have 2 people in my office aside from myself, and if we don't get it done, or the outside counsel that we're able to have supporting us in certain areas, it's not getting done. And again, we can be handling civil rights matters. We can be handling Article 78s. There is a lot of...
Explain to the people what an Article 78
So when you have a administrative action being challenged, and you bring an action against the city, our office would have to respond to it. And so whether it's something involving development or any other type of challenge, we have to respond. And, there's a lot of different things that my office does and that we're responsible for. And we try and do the best we can and provide a service to the community in the most compassionate manner that we can. I mean, we're dealing with the IMREM process as well. So the taxes that the city...
Explain what INREM is.
So basically, when your residents can't afford to pay the city taxes after a certain period of time, the city has the right and responsibility to ensure that the taxes are paid, and it can result in the properties being taken. And so by every measure, we try and do our best to try it and create a payment arrangement that keeps people in their homes, and it's a wide-ranging responsibility. It's been an honor to serve in that capacity, and
Well, and I know, typically I don't know a great deal about those areas of law since all I ever did was criminal law, but I do know when I was county judge, some of those proceedings would come in front of me, and I know for foreclosure of people's homes, But I do know, dealing with both your office and the county attorney's office, that the local governments, and they had the legal basis to foreclose and take an individual's property when taxes were not paid for many years. And there's a very elaborate proceeding that must go through. But you're not in the business of real estate. You don't want to take people's homes. You do not want that. And I know the city and also the county worked so hard to do everything they could to allow the people to stay in that property by working out arrangements. And it was good because it was rare. It was rare that as the judge that had to make that final decision that I was compelled to foreclose on property. It was rare. And that's because you do it in the city's best interests and the county attorney in the county's best interests, but you always handled it with great empathy and compassion. And because it may have been, the county court judge job can be difficult if you're working, but even though you're sentencing murders and rapists, one of the toughest things is kicking somebody out of their home. Anyway, but there are many other things. So what I will say to begin with, knowing you as a person, and I do know you outside, we are friends.
Yes.
I do know, even though you worked for me, we still continued our friendship, which says a lot about you, because I was a pretty...
Or maybe it says a lot about you.
I don't know about that, but I made demands. I was not running a popularity contest, either as DA or judge, and I made demands of people. People like you, I will always hold in awe, because you had the strength to work for me. You did things tremendously, and now you're beginning to reap the benefits, which means the county and the community of this district will reap the benefits if everything work out well. Which, before I get to the next subject, which I hope you can talk about. The other thing I'll say, Corporation Counsel. I remember, we go back a long time, and I would say to Kevin, and Kevin always had the ideal of being a Supreme Court judge. I wanted you to be county court judge. But I know for many reasons that that's something that you struggled with, that concept. But Supreme Court is something I think you really wanted for a very long time. And I used to say, pay your dues. You were counsel for the state police. You've done so many things, but I would say, pay your dues. You have. And one of the big reasons I say that, I think Corporation Counsel may be one of the most difficult positions for any lawyer to be in, because you're not only dealing with this vast, complex area of law. It's not just one little area, it's all. But you also have to handle in the most diplomatic and professional fashion politicians. That is not easy. That is not easy. And by that I mean you have to respond. We have a good mayor. He's a good guy. You have to respond to the mayor. You have to respond to common counsel. That's not easy. So you've gained a great deal, even more respect from me, because I think it's one of the most difficult jobs in the public arena for a lawyer. Anyway, tell us about, now, most importantly, tell us a little bit about Supreme Court, if you can. I don't know what you can and cannot say.
Well, Supreme Court is a trial court of general jurisdiction. It has the widest range of legal areas that the court is responsible for. And it can range from, negligence to matrimonial.
And by negligence, you mean
auto accidents.
Things like auto accidents, matrimonial divorce cases. Yeah. Do you does Supreme Court do child custody also?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do many of the things that also the general public would think family court would do. And when I say you, I'm speaking hopefully.
The court's responsibilities.
Right.
Yes.
In north of New York City, Supreme Court in New York State, it's a New York State Supreme Court judge, you do not do criminal cases with rare exceptions, Article 78. So you don't preside over murders and rapes and child abuse and things of that nature. New York City, They do.
Yes.
North of New York City, I think they don't.
That's
correct?
correct.
The other thing, the misnomer about, and we're lawyers dealing with this every day. We don't know. People on the outside don't know. Supreme Court sounds like it's the highest court in the state of New York, much like Supreme Court of the U.S. It's not, correct?
It's the trial level court.
Okay. And what does that give the layers of courts so people can understand?
And so your Supreme Court is your lowest level, trial level court with statewide jurisdiction. Above that would be the appellate division, which there are 4 divisions in the state.
And it's the appellate division of the
Supreme Court.
So you have trial jurisdiction as a Supreme Court judge, which means for certain legal areas, such as automobile accident, negligence, lawsuits, contract violations, if it reaches a certain monetary limit. If it's below that, it's done either in county court, typically not, but small claims court. Once it reaches a certain monetary limit, it goes to the trial jurisdiction court. And it doesn't mean you try every case, you can't do that, but it's where you have the ability to actually take proof, make decisions, do juries for trials. That's the Supreme Court of the New York State. That's the trial level.
Yes.
If somebody is not happy, and rarely are people happy with any decisions that occurs at the trial court level or the Supreme Court level, they can take an appeal. That goes to the
appellate division of the Supreme Court.
All right, and those are people much like Karen Peters had,
yes.
Mike Kavanaugh had, many other people. They work principally out of Albany, but they also have a local office here in Ulster County, if they're from this region.
Correct.
The district, you said 4 districts, 4 departments, 1st through 4th. We're in the 3rd department. What does that comprise of?
28 counties. So
the 3rd department?
The 3rd department is 28 counties. The 3rd we are in the 3rd judicial district, which is composed of 7 counties. The 3rd judicial district is in the 3rd department, which is comprised of 28 counties.
20? I didn't know it was that many.
And just to add something with Supreme Court, you can just imagine that each court has certain jurisdictions, certain areas that they're responsible for. The Supreme Court handles everything above and beyond. So while there are lower-level courts have jurisdictional limits to their authority, the Supreme Court would have above and beyond that.
All right, so there is no limit. It could be, I've forgotten exactly what the threshold is to get to Supreme Court, whether it's $10,000, pardon? $25,000. So if you've been wronged in some fashion and you've lost $20,000 worth of value, the lawsuit is brought in Supreme Court. But there's no limit. It could be for $1 billion.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. And all divorces, all matrimonials must go to Supreme Court. So the things but again, not criminal cases. Right. Other than that, there are no restrictions, no limitations.
Obviously, you have the Court of Claims that handles cases against the state. So there's
where a lawsuit is brought against New York State rather than an individual or a private company, then it must go. It's done by a Court of Claims judge. Understood. Appeals. When you make a decision, virtually everyone has a right to appeal. It can be a costly process. And by that, you're saying that there's been the people that have lost at the Supreme Court level, they feel they've been wronged, legally typically. They can bring that appeal in front of the appellate division. The appellate division makes a decision, and a 3rd department appellate division decision, those rulings must be followed by trial courts, correct?
That's correct.
And then the highest court in the state of New York
is the Court of Appeals.
Court of Appeals. It's not the Supreme Court.
No,
it's the Court of Appeals. And again, they only hear appeals, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, more importantly, what is going on with your life and your goal and ambition to be a Supreme Court judge?
Well, this year we have 2 judges that will be ending their terms. We have Judge Kilpatrick, who reaches mandatory retirement.
At the age of 70?
At the age of 70.
He can be brought back for a 4-year period?
It's my understanding that the governor has said that there wouldn't be any superannuation. So, in other words,
because of fiscal.
Yeah, so in the past, there's been 3 separate 2-year opportunities for a retired justice to serve. So
and that's not county court judge, it's just Supreme Court.
Just Supreme Court.
And, well, it's not going to be relevant anymore because they're not bringing people back, which means the caseload for the individual Supreme Court judges will dramatically increase because we do not have the additional superannuated people. Okay.
Now, I don't know how long that's going to last.
So we have 2 positions up. Judge Gilpatrick is mandatory retirement at 70. Judge Cahill, Chris Cahill, I don't know if he's made that official.
It's my understanding he is not seeking re-election.
All right. And Supreme Court judges, the term, they must run for office. The term is 14 years, correct? Okay. So when will this election be occurring?
November 2nd.
Of this year?
Yes.
All right. Now, what is the process that one must go through if you wish to be a Supreme Court? Can I ask you these questions?
Yeah, yes, that's fine. So, there's 2 vacancies. And
the vacancies are not for the entire state of New York, they're for a specific district.
Within the 7 counties, that 3rd judicial district, there are 2 vacancies, and they are 2 Ulster County seats.
All right. Now, the 7 counties, what are they?
Sullivan, Ulster, Greene, Columbia, Rensselaer, Albany, and Schoharie.
So the Supreme Court judge that wins this election in November has the responsibility of all 7 counties. However, you said there are 2 Ulster County seats. What does that mean?
There are 2 vacancies this year. It's, again, Judge Gilpatrick and Judge Cahill. And since they sit here in Ulster County, in terms of the agreement that the Democrats have, that if a vacancy is created within a particular county, then it would be that county that would put up the candidates to fill those seats.
And you don't have to come from that county.
No.
But politically, the chair people of that county, they try to, as a matter of fundamental fairness, and when you say it's the seat, even though your jurisdiction, your authority is for the 7 counties, your chambers, where you work out of, is located in a particular county. So out of fairness, the individuals who are deciding preliminarily from each party who they're going to run as a candidate, they're trying to take a person from the county where the judge is leaving. Correct. And so that here, in this case, there will be 2 openings because Judge Gilpatrick is leaving his chambers, Ulster County. Judge Cahill is leaving his chambers, Ulster County. So there are 2 seats up. Now, the fact that if you are, and hopefully this occurs, if you are elected, even though your chambers will be in Ulster County, especially as the new young man or woman on the block, you're probably going to have to be visiting other counties because your jurisdiction is for 7 counties, not just Ulster.
Correct.
You don't just listen to Ulster County cases, correct?
That is correct.
So if somebody has the right to bring a lawsuit in Sullivan County, in all likelihood, since you would be one of the new people on the block, you're going to be shifted to Sullivan County.
The potential is always there.
It is. Who makes that decision? Who travels from one county to the next? Is that the chief judge of the Court of Appeals, or is it the administrative judge?
It's the administrative judge in the 3rd district.
All right. So years ago, we never had an Office of Court Administration. That actually came into effect by law when I was, I think, an assistant. The administrative judge is actually a part of the bureaucracy called the Office of Court Administration, correct?
Yes.
And the administrative judge will be for these 7 counties in this district? Or, okay.
Yes.
And then there's administrative judge that is the grand poobah of the entire state, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Who makes the decision of what judge goes to what county, even though you're a Supreme Court judge for 7 counties?
I think it is the administrative judge.
The top administrative judge probably takes the recommendation of the administrative judge from this district, I take it.
I'm not 100%
Okay.
sure.
All right. So, 1 minute, Kevin. This went way too quick. All right. You got to come back. You must come back. I only have a minute left. I'll say again, Kevin Bryant, Corporation Counsel, is up for election. I think I can say this. I don't have ethical bounds anymore. This is a man that's well-deserving. It's a person that's well-deserving. And I certainly hope and wish you the best. Would you like to leave the audience with anything in the next 20 seconds, Kevin?
Well, in the next 20 seconds, I would say, number one, it's always been a pleasure to be a public servant. I've always been a public servant out of law school, and I've always believed that every person deserves empathy, compassion. The only thing that changes any one of us from each other is circumstances. When you come to the realization that we could easily be in the same circumstance as others, and it's just been good fortune or not, that's what we need to keep in mind when we look at, evaluate, assess, and treat each other. We need to treat each other with respect.
Kevin, you're going to make a fine Supreme Court judge, and I'm confident you're going to win this. And thank you again for coming on. This is Don Williams, Kingston Community Radio.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Kevin. And we'll be back tomorrow with Mario Catalano and Hugh Reynolds.